We have a very, very, very exciting panel for you guys today. Esosa, who I'm going to ask to come up right now, who's the co-founder of Black Women Talk Tech, and just an amazing human. We're going to start it off. We're going to do kind of like a playthrough. We're going to have some other folks jump on. So anyway, let's sit down. Let's get this party started. Okay, I'm going to grab my drink. It's yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, so I actually have like questions.
Hello.
Surprisingly, which is a random scenario for me. But first, I just want you to kind of share and give everybody like who you are and what you do, and then I'm going to ask some random South by questions. And then we'll go into something more interesting.
Hello, everyone. My name is Esosa Ighodaro Johnson. Just got married.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I am.
I feel sorry. No, sorry.
I am one of two co-founders of Black Women Talk Tech. We are the largest network of Black women and scalable business owners. So we have been around for 7 years. We're most known for our Roadmap to Billions conference series, which is a 3-day conference focused on learning how to scale your startup. We also have been trailblazing in a way, supporting the most funded Black startups ever. So we're really excited and proud of that, and have been in experiential now a little over 10 years outside of Black Women Talk Tech.
Is this your, how many South Bys have you been to?
Too many.
Right.
Probably like 6.
Right. I've been to 23.
Okay, not topping that. Huh? You show off.
Somebody's got to do it, right? No. But what do you think of this year? Because I was curious. I didn't know where it was going to go.
Yeah, it was interesting because,
I can tell you what it was like 23 years ago if you want.
You can. It'll be a distant memory now. But, I wasn't sure, coming back from the pandemic and hoping that people come out and really be vibrant and willing to connect with people. You never know, especially being in events. But, it was a tell sign when you start seeing people advocating on social media. I'm going to be there, come connect. It started feeling like the old times again when we, really got a chance to meet people serendipitously here.
And so I think that one of the pieces, and you guys were with us earlier, one of the pieces that I think I tried to pick up on earlier was the absence of funding and investment. And the reality is what we know, but the true reality is that the Black female as an entrepreneur has been the archetype of what it means to persevere against all challenges probably throughout history. And every single time that they're invested in, they deliver more than the Black male, by the way. And I think about microfinancing when that journey started in Africa and the returns that we continue to see there. I think about the work which I talked a little bit about, that Rich does in New Voices, and they exited Mayel after 3 years.
Incredible.
I mean, like, roll the game on, let's go.
That's a clap.
Right. And he started a $100 million just Black female fund. And that was the first message, and that was a gauntlet, like, boom. And I tell this story sometimes. We were meeting with SoftBank, and they were like, so we're looking for funding. And at the end of the meeting, Rich was like, tell me about this opportunity fund. They were like, oh, we're so excited. It's $100 million. Aren't you proud of us? He said, no. Not proud of you. I have a $100 million fund, too. One in Black female, and I'm nowhere near SoftBank, and that's all you can do.
Right.
But our whole piece is, okay, we're going to advocate and fight for it, but if you're not going to do it, we're going to do it because we know what the returns look like.
Yeah.
But tell me what that journey has been like, especially as a representative, not just only a Black female entrepreneur, but as a representative of, I don't know how many are part of the overall network, but as a representative of so many who are on that same journey.
Yeah, it has been one of these, it's an audacious step to start a business in the first place. When you have a vision that you see for the world to have a better place with your product that you're actually creating, solving for people, it's something that you know meaningfully that you have to be out there to do. And especially in technology, where there's nothing like what you're thinking about and there's no path to follow per se, you're kind of in a place where it's always unknown, right? And so you have to be really comfortable with the unknown. And so that's what we've seen with our founders every day, coming up with ideas that are just unprecedented, like just so innovative in a way from their seats. And so what I have found is, luckily in the last, I would say, even at least in the last 3 years, we've seen more opportunities going into Black founders, primarily to the tune of having that first report in 2014 with Project Diane, where they said there was only 14 Black women to ever raise over $1 million. Not 14%, 14. You can count that on your hands and toes, okay? Like, so that was how far we had to really move the needle to now. There's at least now, we're unfortunately still counting a little bit over 100 Black female founders who've raised and then also scaled and sold companies to date. And so we're really excited to be a part of that growth of Black female founders, really like changing the game when it comes to not only building successful companies, but showing that you're at the helm and you can trust us as leaders. I remember back in the day when I was working as a financial exec in banking, and whenever there was a Black woman who would be on the New York Stock Exchange as a new CEO of a Fortune 500 company, we'd see the stock go down. Like, that's historically means that, you know, that person we don't believe can lead the next years or so for that organization. So we're hoping a lot of that is shifting and changing now as we're seeing more Black women in leadership and leading the charge of creating really innovative and successful companies.
It's interesting you bring up Black female CEOs because Ursula Burns is actually on our board.
Oh,
and
amazing.
I mean, that was one of the,
She's
that was like
OG,
that was our dream. So first Black female CEO. That was our dream. That was our dream.
Right.
But she's so impressive. It's crazy.
Incredible.
But so I'm glad you bring up the stock component because what we're really talking about is economic growth. And for me, the biggest challenge I think that we have right now is that we forget how much race clouds the conversation.
Yeah.
So if I told you, hey, there was this group that has $1.7 trillion worth of spending power, but most organizations index maybe 10 to 20% against them. And by the way, they spend twice as much in a recessionary period, sadly because they don't save, but they spend twice as much. You go, where is this mythical creature and how do I find them?
Exactly.
The moment I say, oh, it's the African-American audience, you go, who? New phone? Who this? And I'm like, no, wait a second. Like, wait. And so this is really the conversation that we're trying to have. And by the way, if we had invested in that group at the same level that we invest in other groups over the last 20 years, and not my number, but Citibank's, they would be $17 trillion worth of spending power. Our national debt is 5. So we could have wiped that out. And when we go to DC, we were just in DC, the head of commerce is like, us investing in this community is what's going to grow GDP.
Exactly.
And so that is the opportunity that sits in front of us. But I guess my question here, or not I guess, but my question here is, what have been, when you see the barriers, what's the excuse that's given to you as to why we don't fund? And the good news is you see it across hundreds of Black female founders. Because those are the roots that we need to get to. Like, how do we remove the
biases? You know, it's so interesting. You know, now that we've been around for 7 years, we've welcomed over 12,000 people through our doors for our actual conferences. But then past that, because we vet those conferences, we see even more thousands of founders over the years. And, you know, they're always we're lucky to have a safe space now to talk about the challenges that are really rubbing against what progress looks like for founders. And a lot of times when they're up against trying to even fundraise or talk to people, what I get, a lot of the excuses I get are like, I can't find any Black female founders. I remember the first year I met an older gentleman actually, and I was like, hey, I'm about to, I started out as a tech founder, early days, 2012, starting out a image recognition company and using machine learning in really early days. And I was like, I don't know if I can find a way to like connect us all to help build a community around us. And I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna create this community of Black women who are building really large companies, because it's very different how to think about and scale a business in that way. And I remember the first person I talked to, they just laughed. They said, ha, that doesn't exist. Black women building technology scale-ups? Like, what are you talking about? That is an enigma. And I was like, we're out here. And in our first conference, where we literally just had space maybe for 30 people to join, we sent out an email maybe 7 days before the event and say, hey, come join us. We're going to be talking to gurus every hour to learn more about how to scale up your company. And we got over 350 people trying to join us for that 7-day marketing email only campaign of 2 emails of so many people just trying to figure out how to come together to do this. So it's not a pipeline problem. It's not that, we have other ideas of what, normally women founders have to go up against, like, earlier in the day, they'd say, can you, if you were pregnant or if you were able to even connect with folks, it was to be about this whole idea of not being fully invested in your company because you're pregnant or because you're married, or ask your husband. I've actually had that happen several times.
Look, my husband asked me. He asked me. I'm the one with the money.
It's a whole thing.
But hey, let's bring Lynnwood up real quick. Let's give a huge round of applause for Lynnwood. So.
Sneaking it back up here.
But it's interesting because, my wife's a female founder, and I watch. It's 2 things actually. So I watch how the tenor of the conversation changes when we, and it's so blatantly obvious, right? And actually, my former business partner, we would walk in the room, and the craziest thing is they didn't know whose hand to shake first. They're like, and it's just, and even what I've never been on I've never been like the multicultural guy, right? And now on this journey, people who I've known forever look at me totally different.
Very
and I'm just like, whoa. We like, well, you know who I am. I'm the same Bonin. Like, nothing changed here except your perception. And like I was saying earlier, clouds it. Lynnwood, why don't you introduce yourself real quick so I don't have to.
Yes, I was late, so sorry, everybody. Lynnwood Bibbens.
Just in time.
Just in time. CEO and founder of Reach TV, streaming television network, really into travel media space. We focus on live TV, CNBC Live, NFL games, and original content. Probably 40 different original productions going on at any moment.
So, I mean, you can keep going. I mean,
yes.
It's hard to usually get you to think so I'm surprised that.
Hey, listen, trying to help
we
you out.
We should get them late here every time. It'll make life easy. But no. Well, I think, Lynnwood, we spent a lot of time talking in general, but about this, which is, the title of this is really, how do you find growth during a recession? But when you think about what your audience represents, well, it's not Black targeted. It is oddly underserved. And the reason why I say that is because you're not maxed out.
Yes.
Right? And so I think where the challenge I have is that most marketers, and this is where I tried to change, most marketers don't realize that the places where nobody is funding is where you're going to find the opportunity. And not nobody, it's underinvested in opportunities in communities. talk a little bit about Reach TV and even the broader opportunity that exists in more commerce must run through airports.
Yeah, I mean, on an average month, you're doing $2 billion in revenue in the airports, inside the airports, non-aeronautical. 50% of that's parking. So that opens up opportunities for cars, rental car, Lyft, Ubers, all these type of companies should be heavily invested and have invested. I think the challenge where the growth area is, travel is the one thing that people are not giving up. They'll eat peanut butter and jelly for 3 days a week. They are not giving up travel. They are not giving up travel, and that's been reported by Delta, American, United. Not only do they have record in the history of their company fourth quarter, but they have the record amount of bookings for June, July, August of this year coming up, and that was in fourth quarter they announced that. Where we see some opportunities is one, educating people on what Reach TV is, but two. And this came out at the last Brand Innovators at CES when John was here. I don't know if he's here now, but a simple fact. We acquired CNN Airport 2 years ago. And I can't believe it's been 2 years, but the same people that are buying CNN Airport are asking me to explain what Reach TV is. That really doesn't make any sense. And so some people are getting mad about that. But I will say, in the other side of it is, we've been growing really well every year. For the last 3 years, we've been growing 100%, over 100%, over 100%. I think education is the most important thing for us, telling people about our network. And I think that we have great partners that want to do right. They just need a vehicle to do the right thing. And I think we just got to find that way, that pathway is the hardest thing to help people actually do what they really want to do, which is the right thing.
But let's go back to that, because one of the things that I'm so laser focused on this, and again, my point is, I think a lot of people care about this, but everybody cares about this, you know. And so, I'm even nervous about like the right thing, because I don't need the right thing, right? Because or I don't need the socially right thing.
Yeah.
What I care about is, look, let's go make money together.
Correct.
And so that's what I think, in many respects, to me is baffling with like your business is. As I sit there, I look at, okay, I've got what's the travel consumer like that moves through airports?
So we have 45 million.
Over-index on like.
Over-index on everything.
Yeah.
Over-index second homes, over-index in sea level.
Jesus.
So you learn a lot about that. Second homes, that means you got Lowe's, you got home makeovers. Think about, we just put real estate up and people sit and stare for hours because they all have second homes and thinking about how to do things. We also learn who the traveler is, so we know we have 3 types and what they all want to see. So we program in that way. I think that we did 70 case studies last year, proving attribution, working directly with brands, agencies to really get the KPIs up front and then prove it on the way back. So to your point, we just push a button and say, here's the proof. Let's go.
Well, and again, I think it goes back to underinvested in opportunities. And when I think about, that second home, that household income, what people don't realize is it's a captive audience. Sure. In fact, one of your competitors, I'm guessing they might not direct me, but captivate. Like literally, they're like you're in an elevator. Like when I'm at the, when I'm at the bar at the airport, which I do often, but I send you screenshots all the time. Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just literally, that's what you're watching. Just really quickly, Esosa, so as you think about the next pieces that are important for you to put in place to continue the journey, like what does this year look like? What does next year look like? Like help us understand what are the big areas you're trying to tackle, and then some of the ways that you see tackling them.
Yeah, so Black Women Talk Tech this year has grown tremendously. Now we have over 100,000 people a part of my network, and we have been...
Hold the mic up a little bit so it'll be a little
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Sorry. We have over 100,000 Black Women Tech Scalable founders in our network, and now we want to actually grow more internationally. So we've been in New York for the last now 7 years, and so now we're going into Canada and the UK this year, and really having a touch and reach to having a true global network of founders to be able to touch and reach and build networks of investors and new innovative products through founders. And so that's our biggest mission. Our mission is to help the next billion-dollar tech and scalable founder to be a Black woman and allow her to grow like a phoenix and allow us to be a support system and network for that.
And why just tech?
Tech is literally it's not even the next, it is it's the only thing that matters when it comes to business today, because it's going to impact more lives and more people than we can even count that will come in the future. Because, when you think about the share over the last few years, right, where it took, let me say, Ford, 40 years to become a billion-dollar company. It took Uber 7 years. Like the sheer fast speed of technology affecting lives and the way we live them is going to make the difference. And our mission is really to help Black communities grow and have a better quality of life. And the way you do that is through ownership. And so that's why we think it's super important to be able to get to wealth using the fastest vehicle to do that, which is in technology.
Right. And one last. So, if I'm a Black female founder, I feel like the one piece is I get community, right? Which is probably that's the most important.
Most important thing.
That's the most important piece. But what other pieces do I, what else? What other gifts or purchase do I receive?
So one of the biggest things we notice in the Black community that it might be a little daunting. People look at tech and say, "Oh, that's not for me," because they think it's this like new language. But tech is everywhere, and you use it every day. It's a part of your lived experience. If you can solve a problem that makes it faster, easier, or the way of getting to it is unique, you can become a founder that helps millions of people, because you're probably not the only one thinking of that idea. And so we try to think about ways of how you resource that person. So whether that's access to networks, which is one of the probably largest pieces when it comes to technology and scaling your business, is your ability to connect with people who can make the difference for your business. So we connect folks to the largest investors in the world. We connect people to contracts for multinational corporations. We connect and make sure that you're getting not only just the advice, but also the money you need. And we're excited to have, of our last 7 pitch competitions that we've had and invested over $500,000 in founders, they've gone on to raise over $40 million in venture capital. That's something that has not been done before. And it just started with a small group of founders who are our peers, right? To then grow and scale what we can see in the future.
Wow.
So, were you going to jump in on that?
I just said, wow.
Oh, yes, wow. And I think the goal is the goal that we want to support, of course, but I think it's a goal that's when will we see, although I'm not going to lie, this Super Bowl, that halftime show opening, bitch better have my money. I was like, yes, get it. I was like, yes.
Oh my God.
But I think that's when do we see a Black female tech entrepreneur exit above $1 billion? Hopefully very, very soon. Lynnwood, I know one of the things that you talk a lot about, and I think I saw a very interesting parallel, like what you were saying at CES. So here's somebody who owned your exact same business and has not seen the challenges that you've seen, although it's the exact same business. So what's the difference? It's very clear what that is, and that's the accountability, the absence of accountability that the people who we do business with have right now, is that they can get away with saying, without being called to the mat, we all know what's happening in that scenario. And I'll give one example for us. Every room I've walked in, it's never been, now it's like, only talk to the multicultural guy. I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, why? First, more than that, why would I relegate myself only to 13% of the opportunity? And most of the time, the spending is far less than that 13%. Why would I do that? And by the way, what I invested in influences it. How come it was okay and I watched a shift from multicultural to general market? How come it was okay to say, oh, no, general market, they'll affect everybody. But we don't get a chance to touch everybody either, although hip-hop, the largest economic generating genre in the history of music, that wasn't created by 13% of the marketplace. Let me just be very, very clear about that. So we know, and so talk a little bit, and I don't want it to be about challenges. I also want it to be about opportunity, but I do want to just touch a little bit because I saw that parallel directly, and I was like, wow, that's a very strong, a very strong example.
Yeah. So first off, Reach is a tech company masquerading as a media company. So the way that we got to this scale was looking at a problem and fixing it, and by using tech and cloud-based networks, so I can then program down to the screen. Why that's important is that's how we're able to convert and do attribution, because I can do different creative at different places in real time. So that was one of the reasons that we were able to shift and actually make a network like a CNN that was traditional television, way it was delivered, now be able to go program down to a screen. So it makes it an even better product. The big thing for us and the growth opportunity and what we're seeing is the NFL games. NFL, obviously, if you look at the top 100 shows on TV, 85 are NFL games. So now my new pitch is, all right, we have 85 of the top 100 things watched on television. I think that's what you want to buy. To your point, I don't care about multicultural. It should be, this is the best viewed content with the most desired audience. This is where I want to go. These are the people I want to buy. My EVP says when she walks in, if you don't want this audience, you shouldn't be in advertising. I mean, like it's at that point. I think that a lot of it is the problem I have right now, or my challenge is, I don't want to be the guy suing everybody to get people to do the right thing.
Whoa, don't call people out, dog.
But he's a good friend. He's a friend. But there has to be some kind of medium in which we all are accountable to each other.
Isn't that crazy? Don't we as an industry want to look? I've given my life to this industry. You sit in this space. I brought brand innovators here. I tried to create a space for marketers to be at South by, to see the tech that was good. I literally poured my heart into this industry, and anybody who knows me knows the level that I built a talent accelerator that I did as my side hustle while I had a full-time job to help talent come through. Called Brand U, which was literally to help high potentials grow and change their career, and went out, gave it to them for free, and went out and sourced sponsorships so that we could, and took no money. And it saddens me. What we don't forget is how powerful this industry is. At the end of the day, brands that will not be named by me because I live in a world where blue can matters most, but let's use a different one, Levi's. That meant freedom to people in some places. We changed the world. And the fact that we're sitting in an industry where if they weren't being sued, they wouldn't do the right thing. That just breaks my heart, man. Like, as an industry, like, how can we, and we always say companies, brand. It's not about that. These things are made up of humans, individuals who make decisions. And the fact that we're not making the decision, and even more than that, the fact that there's not one senior leader on the brand side that can raise their hand today and say, I did it, I got it done. And all we hear is excuses. And by the way, the rumblings I hear right now is, we try. There's no trying. You don't try to hit your growth numbers, you hit it, dude, and you focus on it. So if you care about it, you get it done. To me, that's the thing that breaks my heart about seeing this side and watching this journey over the last 18 months. Like, who are we as an industry? I just expected better from us. And so it's all good. We're going to get there, and we're going to force it. We're going to get there. It's tough love for my family. And we're here. We're going to make it happen, come hell or high water. But Jesus Christ, dude, like, why do you need to be sued? Like, why does that motivate you? Why does my phone ring when you're getting a lawsuit?
I think that one of the things is, some people just need to understand how important like an upfront was to Reach TV, right? Because I'm competing and I'm going out and buying the NFL license. I'm the only network that has every single game.
And by the way, I'm not asking because of the color of my skin.
No, I know exactly. I'm saying I have a quality product, but the equalizer is now I have predictable revenue. When you start and you found a company, as a founder, the whole idea is how do you get a place where you can have predictable revenue?
Exactly.
So then you can hire more people, you can grow and add more people and add more diversity and keep this engine moving.
Right.
And what that takes is an investment or commitment.
But look, the infrastructure is missing to reach this community. We know what it's about, investing in the community to grow the infrastructure. And I think I said it earlier. We've seen this, China, India, Brazil. We know, this is not new, dude. Like, this is 101, dude. Like, we know this thing. But why not? Why does it stop? We know. So, sorry, I'm gonna switch. You want to go next, right? You really wanted to follow that piece right there, right? Yeah. That was what you were hoping for. So I just so my question is as a founder, forget about, and I think black, female. I'm not allowed to do this because Mark's sitting there, but we have an amazing Basquiat and Biggie exhibit at our space, so you're more than welcome to come to ours as well. We also have a happy hour, although I'm supposed to announce this one, I'm just letting you know that. But the reason why I bring it up is because why that exhibit is called Love Letter to Hip Hop. Why that exhibit is so important to me, and I was lucky enough to put some of my dad's work up against Basquiat's, because what's happening in the art world, black artists are now being boxed into, show me the black struggle, show me. And when Basquiat did an interview, and you guys, if you watch the doc, they asked him, what's it like to be a black artist? He said, I also paint in purple. I paint in yellow. I'm just an artist. I'm just an artist. So that's why I don't want to say, like, moving away from that, as an entrepreneur, as you look at the landscape of what we're facing today, of what just happened, and we know it's harder, what advice are you giving to companies on how to deal with the waters that lie ahead?
I mean, it's a big challenge, especially with the wake of the news of SBV, who's been around for 40 years and a leading pioneer around technology and funding and supporting the ecosystem, literally shutting down. And the fact that in this weekend, we have so many startups who really, literally don't have access to funds as a result, cannot pay payroll as a result, like so many challenges. You have to be such a dynamic leader to be able to walk the walk and kind of filter through the unknown and really have a supportive network around you. So my one advice is to make sure you don't go at it alone and talk with others. As an entrepreneur, it's a very lonely road, and it's really hard for a lot of entrepreneurs to be vulnerable and kind of be in a space where they're not, it's always a sunny day. Like back in over 10 years, it was always a sunny day. There's nothing, we're just burning at both ends of the sticks. But being more vulnerable and being able to share your challenges with others to figure out how you can solve things together with other entrepreneurs or other people of your team allow you to get those resources you need to get to another day. And so I always want to encourage people to not only build communities around them, but also find ways to fill your cup up, because it is a challenging road ahead. Whether that's a therapist, whether it's a coach, have someone partner with you.
I just want to look, people don't tell that. Everybody tells the sunny day story. And I have a mentor and a friend, the person who encouraged me to quit and go follow my own dreams independently. And in the setting, he owns that house in Billion. So in the setting, when he was telling me, I was like, yeah, I'm going to get this house. The reality is there's a long journey to that. Like, I'm just saying that road is much longer. The driveway wasn't as long when I saw it from his place, but it's far. But he told me, he said, the best thing you can do is to be the best friend, because we were investing, I started a fund. The best thing you can do is to be the best friend of the CEO, because it's a lonely job. And so I just hope that support the entrepreneurs that are in your life. And my only advice You should have went with a black-owned bank. I'm just saying. And on top of that, they're like, oh, it didn't work. Like that's what we get told. Oh, we tried before. These dudes just lost and by the way, it's not like these are government bonds. It wasn't like they were in just regular securities where the market goes up and down. They saw this coming, dude. They literally saw it coming and said nothing. And what's screwed up about it is that they didn't it wasn't just about a bank collapsing. They knew who they were. It was about the innovation engine of the U.S. now being stifled and hit, and also by companies that are too small. Some are much bigger, but too small to actually go and find the ability to go pay payroll for their people on Monday. And so, I don't know, I hope they're taken to the mat. I feel bad saying that, but I mean, so, advice?
I think my advice to a lot of founders, they call me a lot, sold like 6 different companies, is to build a product that's scalable. But I call it, when I build scale, when I look at a product that I'm building, is what's the total capacity of that product? And can you build it for no more than 10% of what the total capacity would be? So if you have something that you think can sell for 200 million, you're building that for somewhere between 10 and 15, 20 million a year to run on. The reason you want to do that is it's going to take time. I have people that come to me and say, this is worth 40 million a year. It's going to cost me $35 million to run. I'm like, well, where's the investable product? That's not an investable thing. I'm risking everything to even go. I'd rather bet on you doing 5 million and we get to 40 eventually. So I tell everybody to take a step back, really write your business plan, really build. Are you building something scalable or not? Because if that's where people want to invest. And then the other thing is, I know you have bad days, but I think people have to take in what happens to them, right? It's all how you interpret it. Bad shit's gonna happen. Didn't mean to curse, but on a daily basis, things go wrong every single day for me. But if you ask anybody, how am I doing? If somebody asks me how I'm doing, everybody knows the same answer. I'm great. I'm always good because I'm breathing. Because I figured if I'm breathing, I can fix it. And if I'm not, somebody else's problem.
Tell somebody. Tell somebody. Go ahead.
All right. I'm sure they're yelling at me to shut this down, so I'm just gonna ask 2 last questions. Yeah, right. Don't push me. I'll go there. Jason. You know what I mean? Right. Alcohol. It's hard to compete with alcohol. I'm not gonna lie. I'll compete with anybody else. Alcohol is a little.
Can't win that.
Yeah, you might not win that, right? Anyway, so where can we find growth during a recession?
I mean, the interesting thing about growth, some of the biggest companies happen during a recession. The biggest wealth transfers happen during a recession. It's just about your ability to recognize the opportunity and take advantage of it. So just building those skill sets to be able to do that.
Right. Final words.
Reach
I should have
TV.
given it to her. I apologize. Because what she just said is going to be better than anything you said.
I just said, Reach TV. There's your opportunity for growth.
Oh, my God.
Is that a plug? Am I allowed to do that?
I mean, we paid for the sponsorship, but sure,
yeah.
go ahead, use it.
But I think the growth is actually this right now is the connecting of data and the first party data, and to be able to incorporate that without cookies and all this other stuff. You've never had an opportunity right now to tell messages along people's journey than you have at this moment in time. That's so powerful if you're a marketing person, if you're an advertiser, if you want your brand out. There's so many ways to do it now. They just weren't there before. And the ease of doing that, just getting on a computer and going up and doing it is amazing.
It's actually wild. If anyone has heard of ChatGPT or any AI that allows you, generative AI product, literally you can get a business up and running in minutes now, not even weeks or months, minutes. Durable.co, not to sponsor them or anything, but like
everybody just plugging stuff.
I know, but it's just
BrewBlack.co.
I know, right? Like, it's just incredible how you can have anything you want at your fingertips at the sheer speed of technology allowing you to do that. You know, AI is going to affect not only, you know, businesses and how we're coming to you, but how you live your lives today, how it's going to be easier for you to write an email or even to to create things online now just because of those added services. So I really would encourage everyone, if you haven't played around with it, do yourself a favor.
Can I say one more thing, though? This is for you, Bonin. Every media company inside the collective, if you look at what they are, they're really tech companies. You look at Gary's and Pod, and you look at all these different companies, they're built on cloud-based tech and delivery and software. So this scalability is an easy plug-in. So if you're looking for growth opportunities from markets that you haven't been in, all you need to do is plug in, and you can get across the entire collective because it's all tech-enabled. That's the part that I wanted to.
I mean, I'll take that plug all day long. But
Yay.
but so before I say thank you to you guys, thank you for that. He's right. You can plug in. I mean, we're the easy button. We scale. I won't sell you guys, but I'll be backstage if you need. If you need some of that good stuff, I got it. But I just want to thank everybody who's sitting in the audience. There's many familiar faces and people who have been on this journey with me for years, and I'm just so grateful. And so I just wanted to thank you guys. Thank you, Jason. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. And then I want to thank these lovely contributors, mostly this side, but those that are on time.
Yes.
But anyway, let's give a huge round of applause.
So many jokes about that
as well.